The world is not a place that bends to your feelings, your excuses, or your fragile ego. It is brutal, indifferent, and it respects only power. Cold, quiet, undeniable power. True strength does not come from how much you speak or how clever you sound. It begins where weakness is stripped away, where your mind stops drowning in useless thoughts, where your tongue stops betraying your intentions, and where your energy is carved into focus sharper than a blade. Most men live as noise. Too many thoughts, too many words, and nothing to show. You must become different. You must become disciplined silence. The man who observes while others reveal themselves. The man who calculates while others gossip. The man who moves with precision while others stumble out in chaos. This is where strength begins. This is where you become untouchable. Understand this. Every wasted word drains you. Every scattered thought weakens you. Every broken focus exposes you. If you want to rise above, you must step into the cold discipline of less. Think less, talk less, focus more. That is the foundation of true power. Comment this now. Silence sharpens me. The death of noise. This noise is the greatest weakness of men. They think strength is shown in how much they say, how much they argue, how loudly they roar. But the truth is simple. Lions don't roar to prove power. They roar to end doubt. And until you've mastered silence, your words are nothing but chains exposing your mind to anyone sharp enough to listen. Every word you spill carelessly is a blade given to your enemy. Every opinion you broadcast is a map to your vulnerabilities. The strong don't hand out maps. They erase them. They live in restraint, in silence, in observation. Understand this. The man who cannot control his mouth is already conquered. He has revealed his desires, his fears, his intent. He's a weapon that disarms himself before the battle even begins. And that is the fate of the herd. They cannot stop talking. They cannot stop oversharing. They cannot stop seeking validation in the eyes of others. But you are not here to be like them. You are here to become untouchable, to turn silence into a weapon and focus into a fortress. When you speak less, you control perception. When you think less, you control chaos. When you focus more, you control outcome. That is power, pure, ruthless, unshakable power. And the world cannot resist it. Watch how men stumble when you do not respond to provocation. Watch how they reveal themselves in the silence you give them. Watch how they waste energy trying to impress while you conserve it to dominate. You must train your tongue to obey discipline, your mind to cut through clutter, and your attention to move like a blade, direct, precise, final. This is where men separate themselves from boys, leaders from followers, predators from prey. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is strategy. Focus is not obsession. Focus is weaponry. And the man who embraces both becomes inevitable. Comment this now. My silence is my fortress. The tyranny of focus. Power does not come to the distracted. It does not come to the man scattering his attention across every impulse, every trivial temptation, every meaningless indulgence. Power comes to the man who learns to lock his mind on one target and crush everything standing in the way. Focus is not a luxury. It is the dividing line between mediocrity and dominance. The average man is enslaved by distraction. His phone controls him. His desires drag him. His emotions whip him into constant motion without direction. He calls it living, but it is merely drowning with style. The man who seeks true strength must become the opposite. Still, where others are restless, calculating where others are, impulsive, disciplined where others are slaves. Focus is brutal. It demands sacrifice. It demands that you cut away everything that weakens you, every friend that drains, every habit that softens, every voice that distracts. And yes, it will make you cold. It will make you untouchable. But this is the price of power. The herd will never understand. They chase comfort, entertainment, and instant validation. And in doing so, they scatter their strength into dust. But the focused man channels all of it into a spear. And with that spear, he pierces through the life's resistance. Machiavelli knew this truth. Men are easy to control because they are predictable, swayed by pleasure, led by fear, blinded by distraction. But the focused man, he is the exception. He cannot be swayed because his eyes never leave the target. He cannot be led because he charts his own ruthless path. He cannot be broken because every ounce of his being is aligned toward purpose. Focus transforms you from prey into predator. It teaches you to endure boredom, to harness patience, to move only when the strike matters. Ask yourself, what could you become if you cut away the noise, the weakness, the wasted hours? How lethal would your potential be if you trained your mind like a blade, sharp, unwavering, and merciless? The world would have no defense against you, and that is why you must embrace it. Think less, talk less, focus more. Repeat this truth until it burns into your mind like fire. Comment this now. My focus is my weapon, the mask of power. Understand this. The world is a stage, and every man is wearing a mask. The weak wear masks they cannot control, masks that slip when emotions rise, masks that crack when pressure mounts. But the strong, the truly powerful wear their mask like armor, their silence, their restraint, their composure. It is not passivity, it is control. When you speak less, you reveal less. When you think less, you hesitate less. When you focus more, you strike with precision. That mask becomes your shield. And behind it, you are untouchable. The average man exposes his soul at every turn. He vents his frustrations, boasts about his plans, advertises his insecurities without realizing it. Every time he does, he becomes predictable. And predictability is death in a world ruled by predators. The Machiavellian mind knows this. Men must be handled as tools, weapons, or obstacles. To do this, you must first master yourself. If you cannot rule your tongue, you will never rule others. If you cannot command your focus, you will always be commanded by someone else. Power begins with a mask. It is the art of seeming calm when you are plotting ruthlessly, the art of appearing weak while positioning for the kill, the art of revealing nothing until everything is ready. Dark psychology teaches a simple truth. People cannot resist filling silence. When you withhold, when you stay still, when you leave space, they expose themselves to you. They reveal their fears, their motives, their flaws. You must learn to listen more than you speak, to watch more than you act, to study more than you reveal. Every man you encounter is broadcasting his weaknesses. If only you are silent enough to hear them, and once you know them, you own them. This is not kindness. This is not morality. This is cold strategy. The Stoics endured suffering without complaint because they understood one thing: control the self and you control the battle. The Machiavellians conquered kingdoms because they understood another: control perception and you control the world. Combine the two and you become the man who cannot be broken, cannot be manipulated, cannot be stopped. So wear your mask, hide your chaos, contain your fire until the moment it is needed. And when that moment comes, strike with speed, strike with precision, strike with inevitability. That is the way of power. Comment this now. My mask is my armor, the anatomy of control. Control is the essence of power. Without it, you are nothing but a puppet, pulled by emotions, yanked by temptations, manipulated by those who understand you better than you understand yourself. The average man is a slave, and he doesn't even see the chains. He is chained to anger, chained to lust, chained to distraction, chained to every impulse that flashes through his weak, undisciplined mind. He mistakes freedom for indulgence, when in reality, indulgence is just another form of enslavement. True freedom, true power, comes only from mastery of the self. And mastery begins with ruthless control. Think less, talk less, focus more. These are not slogans, they are weapons. 2. Think less means to silence the endless chatter in your head, to cut off the weak voice that second-guesses, overanalyzes, and paralyzes you. Overthinking is hesitation, and hesitation is death. To talk less means to deny others the privilege of knowing your next move. Words are signals, and signals are vulnerabilities. Reveal nothing, and you remain a shadow, present yet untouchable. To focus more means to channel all your energy into one strike, one mission, one goal until the world bends under your will. This is how men become legends. This is how dynasties are carved. Machiavelli understood this. People are not moved by truth, but by appearances, fear, and desire. If you control what they see, if you control what they believe, you control them entirely. Dark psychology sharpens the lesson. People betray themselves faster than you ever could betray them. They want to be understood. They want to be heard. They want to spill their secrets into the silence, and when you master silence, when you wield restraint, they will hand you the keys to their weaknesses without realizing it. You must learn to exploit. This power is not about brute force. It is about invisible chains built from psychology, from control, from discipline. But here's the truth. No one dares to tell you. Control is brutal. It is sacrifice. It is the burning away of softness, of indulgence, of comfort. To control yourself, you must kill the weak parts of you, the lazy part, the needy part, the emotional part that wants to. Scream instead of strategize. You must embrace discomfort, solitude, and silence until they no longer feel like punishment, but like weapons. Only then will you stand above men who are broken by every hardship, distracted by every temptation, ruined by their own lack of discipline. When you reach that level of control, the world bends around you. People will fear your calm. They will respect your silence. They will be unsettled by your focus. They won't know what you're thinking, and that mystery will make them cautious. They won't know your next move, and that unpredictability will make them weak. You will no longer be reacting to life. You will be directing it. That is control. That is power. Comment this now. I am my own master. The cold path of ruthless discipline. Most men will never taste power because they lack the spine for discipline. They mistake indulgence for living, weakness for kindness, distraction for leisure. They gorge on pleasures, run from pain, and seek validation like dogs begging for scraps. And then they wonder why they remain invisible, why no one respects them, why life crushes them without hesitation. Let me tell you the truth. The world does not honor men who beg. It honors men who endure. It bows to men who can chain their impulses, silence their emotions, and move with ruthless discipline when others collapse. Discipline is the crucible where strength is forged. It is the fire that burns away comfort, the hammer that shatters weakness, the anvil that shapes you into something unrecognizable to the herd. The Stoics knew this. Pain is not an enemy, but a teacher. Discomfort is not punishment, but training. Every moment you resist temptation, you sharpen your edge. Every moment you endure suffering without complaint, you build armor no enemy can pierce. Every moment you silence your tongue and tighten your focus, you carve your path toward mastery. But understand this, discipline is not soft. It is not gentle. It does not care about your excuses, your feelings, your fatigue. It is merciless, and that is why most men abandon it. They return to pleasure, to laziness, to noise, because discipline exposes who they really are. It shows them the hollowness of their will, the fragility of their resolve. If you want to rise above them, you must embrace what they run from. You must wake when your body craves more sleep. You must work when your mind begs for ease. You must remain silent when your ego screams to speak. Discipline is the cold blade you press against your own throat. Obey or be destroyed, Machiavelli would tell you. It is not enough to appear disciplined. You must be disciplined in truth. Appearances can deceive, but without inner control, you will eventually break. Dark psychology reminds us that men are addicted to shortcuts, to comfort, to weakness disguised as happiness. They will call you extreme for choosing discipline. They will mock your silence, resent your restraint, despise your focus. Let them. Every insult they throw, every doubt they whisper is proof that you are no longer one of them. They cannot stand the sight of what they lack. And when you outlast them, when they are broken by their own chaos, you will stand cold, unshaken, untouchable. Focus here. The man of discipline has leverage over every interaction. He is not swayed by anger, so he cannot be baited. He is not blinded by lust, so he cannot be seduced into weakness. He is not enslaved by distractions, so his energy flows like a river cutting through stone, while others spill themselves into puddles. People feel this when they stand near such a man. They sense the gravity of his control, the sharpness of his presence, the inevitability of his power, and they submit not because he demands it, but because his very existence forces it. Think of the herd. Scattered attention, endless chatter, empty promises. Then think of the disciplined man. Few words, precise action, relentless focus. Which of the two survives storms? Which of the two commands respect? Which of the two bends the world to his will? The answer is obvious. Discipline is not optional. It is the foundation of everything. Without it, there is no power, no control, no strength. With it, you become a force of nature, silent, patient, unstoppable. But discipline is lonely. You must be prepared for that. The path of control will strip people from your life because most will not follow where you are going. They will call you distant, cold, obsessive, and you must let them go. Their weakness cannot mix with your strength. Their noise cannot drown your silence. Their chaos cannot dilute your focus. Discipline demands sacrifice, and one of the greatest sacrifices is leaving behind the world of men who live like cattle. If you cannot bear that loneliness, you will never bear the crown of power. So ask yourself, are you willing to be feared instead of liked, respected instead of loved, unshaken instead of understood? If you are, discipline is your ally. If not, you will remain what you are, one of the herd, a man of noise, distraction, and weakness. Choose the cold path, embrace the silence, enforce the discipline. Think less, talk less, focus more, and watch as the world reshapes itself around you. Comment this now. Discipline makes me untouchable, the fortress within. Power does not begin with armies, money, or influence. It begins within. It begins in the fortress of your mind, built stone by stone through discipline, silence, and unrelenting focus. Every man who has ever ruled, whether through fear, cunning, or strength, first conquered himself. The herd cannot see this. They think power is external. The cars, the women, the titles, the applause. But these things are illusions. Fleeting rewards handed to men who have already established unshakable internal dominance. Without inner control, external power collapses. Look at kings who fell to their own temptations, generals who were undone by arrogance, leaders who let lust or greed rot their empire from within. They were not defeated by enemies. They were defeated by themselves. If you want to become untouchable, you must construct a fortress within your own mind that cannot be breached. The fortress is built with silence. Every time you hold your tongue, you lay a stone. Every time you resist the urge to explain, to boast, to justify, you raise a wall. Weak men reveal themselves constantly. They explain their motives. They justify their failures. They They broadcast their insecurities. Do you know what this creates? Open doors for manipulation, a fortress with no gates. But when you remain silent, when you give nothing away, others are left in the dark. They begin to project their fears onto you. They begin to doubt themselves. They begin to reveal more than they intended. Your silence disarms them, weakens them, and strengthens you. In a world of chatter, silence is an apex weapon, but silence is not enough. A fortress needs order, and order is created through focus. Focus is the alignment of your energy into one direction, one mission, on one goal. Look at men around you. Scattered attention, half-built ambitions, endless distractions. They waste their days feeding their impulses, chasing what feels good in the moment, never building anything lasting. Their minds are cities without walls, chaotic, unprotected, vulnerable. Focus builds walls. Focus creates structure. Focus ensures that every ounce of your time, every drop of your energy, every thought in your mind is invested where it matters. This is how empires are built. Through obsession, through the refusal to scatter, through the merciless elimination of distractions. Now we speak of control, the roof of your fortress, the seal that completes it. Control is the hardest element because it is the most brutal. It demands that you master your emotions until they serve you, not enslave you. Anger must become a blade, sharpened, precise, released only when it cuts clean. Lust must become fuel, transmuted into ambition, not weakness. Fear must become awareness, a warning system, not a prison. Most men collapse under their emotions. They scream when they should listen. They lash out when they should calculate. They run when they should endure. Control separates the conqueror from the conquered. When you can look at chaos with a calm expression, when you can hold your silence while fire burns around you, when you can act with precision while others drown in panic, you are already more powerful than 99% of men. Machiavelli understood this truth. He wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Why? Because fear is control, while love is a luxury. Men who rely on love, on admiration, on the approval of others, they will always be slaves to opinion. They will bend, they will beg, they will adjust their path to maintain affection. But men who rule through fear, or more precisely through controlled presence, do not need approval. They are respected because they cannot be moved. They are untouchable because they cannot be swayed. The fortress within makes you immune to manipulation. No flattery, no insult, no temptation can breach it. Dark psychology sharpens the lesson further. People cannot resist filling silence, cannot resist explaining themselves, cannot resist revealing too much when under the gaze of someone who appears unmoved. This is your advantage. Learn to watch. Learn to let silence draw out confessions. Learn to let your restraint force others to overplay their hand. People reveal their weaknesses constantly, but only if you are disciplined enough to see it. Do not interrupt. Do not expose yourself. Just let them collapse under the weight of their own noise. But you must accept the price. The fortress within is not built on comfort. It is not built on friendships, indulgence, or weakness. It is built on sacrifice. Discipline strips away everything soft. Silence isolates you. Focus makes you obsessive. Control makes you cold. And this will distance you from the herd. You will no longer laugh at meaningless jokes. You will no longer waste nights drowning in distractions. You will no longer explain yourself to people too weak to understand. You will be alone, and that is the crucible of power. Only in solitude does the fortress truly rise. Only in loneliness does discipline crystallize into an unshakable strength. Most men run from this loneliness. That is why they remain weak. You must embrace it, and when the fortress is complete, when your silence is unbreakable, your focus relentless, your control absolute, you will feel the shift. People will sense it before you speak. They will feel the weight of your presence. They will tread carefully around you without knowing why. They will project power onto you because you radiate what they cannot comprehend. Self-mastery. That is the essence of being. Untouchable. Not violence, not chaos, not noise, but calm, controlled, inevitability. Ask yourself, do you want to live as the herd, exposed and vulnerable, babbling, until your enemies know every weakness? Or do you want to become the man who sits in silence, whose stillness commands respect, whose focus bends reality, whose discipline builds an empire within? The choice is yours. But understand, once you choose the fortress, there is no going back. Weakness cannot coexist with it, the old. You must die so that the untouchable you can be born. Think less, talk less, focus more. Control yourself and you will control everything. Comment this. Now, my mind is my fortress. The art of strategic domination. Power is not the absence of enemies, it is the mastery of them. The man who thinks less, talks less, and focuses more becomes dangerous not because he exists in isolation, but because his very nature allows him to dominate the world around him with precision. Understand this. Life is war, disguised as civilization. Every man you meet is either a rival, a tool, or a threat. The herd lives in denial of this truth. They speak of equality, kindness, harmony, but beneath every handshake is a hidden calculation. Beneath every smile is a concealed motive. If you wish to rise above, you must stop seeing the world as it pretends to be and see it as it truly is, a chessboard of predators and prey. The first step in domination is observation. Words are distractions. Actions reveal truth. Watch people when they believe no one is looking. Watch what they choose when they think no one is judging. Their true loyalties, their desires, their fears, they all bleed through their habits. The disciplined man who watches in silence becomes the master of information. And information is leverage. Leverage is the root of control. Once you know what a man fears, you own him. Once you know what a man desires, you can guide him. Once you know his weakness, you can shatter him. He does not need to know that you know, only that you are always one step ahead. The second step is restraint. Weak men waste their advantages by revealing them. Too soon, they gloat, they threaten, they speak of their strategies before they strike. This ruins them. You must never reveal your hand until the move is inevitable. Patience is your weapon. Let your enemies underestimate you. Let them think you are passive, distracted, harmless. Then when the moment is right, you strike with such precision that resistance becomes impossible. Stoicism teaches endurance. Machiavellianism teaches timing. Combined, they make you unstoppable. The third step is manipulation, not through constant lies, but through controlled perception. People see what you allow them to see. Show them strength when you want their fear. Show them weakness when you want their pity. Show them indifference when you want them desperate for your attention. Do not think of manipulation as cruelty. It is survival. Everyone manipulates. The difference is whether you do it with mastery or ignorance. The man who talks less, who reveals little, who controls his image with discipline, is always in command of the narrative. He becomes the ghost in the room, shaping reality, while others expose themselves. But domination is not simply about defeating enemies. It is about commanding allies. Men are driven by two forces, fear and desire. If you cannot be loved and feared at once, then be feared first, respected always. Love fades, respect endures. Give people just enough of what they crave to bind them to your service, but never enough to make them independent of you. Keep them slightly uncertain, slightly hungry, slightly dependent on your approval. A man who feels he owes you will obey you. A man who feels he needs you will defend you. A man who fears losing you will never betray you. Dark psychology. reveals another truth. Most people are desperate to follow. They do not want to think for themselves. They want to be led, directed, given purpose. The herd fears responsibility. This is your opportunity. The disciplined man who has silenced his own chaos radiates certainty, and certainty is magnetic. People will flock to you because you project what they lack. They will lean on your silence, mistake it for wisdom, and cling to your calm as though it were truth itself. Use this. Guide them where you wish, not where they think they want to go. Leadership is not about asking. It is about directing with such confidence that obedience feels natural. But never forget, domination requires balance. Too much cruelty, and your power becomes brittle. Too much kindness, and your power dissolves. The Stoics' lesson is control of self, of response, of emotion. Machiavelli's lesson is fear, measured, precise, calculated. You must become the fusion of both. Cold in discipline, strategic in perception, ruthless in execution. The world respects such men because they are rare, because they cannot be shaken by insult, temptation, or threat. This path will isolate you. To dominate others, you must first rise above them, and rising above always creates distance. You will be envied, whispered about, attacked. Let it happen. Envy is proof of power. Hatred is proof of fear. Opposition is proof that you have stepped out of the herd and into the realm of predators. Do not run from it. Command it. A man who has built his inner fortress and sharpened his focus cannot be undone by the noise of weaker men. Their words are wind. Your will is iron. Ask yourself, what would life look like if you lived with this clarity every day? If every distraction was cut away, every weakness exposed, every interaction leveraged, you would no longer be just another man. You would be the axis around which others rotate. People would measure themselves against you. They would define their choices by your presence. They would fear to cross you, crave to serve you, and struggle to comprehend you. That is domination. Not loud, not chaotic, but inevitable. Silent, complete. Think less, talk less, focus more, observe, restrain, manipulate, command, build the fortress within, then extend it outward until the world itself bends to your will. This is not fantasy. It is the natural outcome of discipline, sharpened into strategy. But few will ever embrace it because it demands sacrifice. You must choose now. Remain one of the herd, noisy and weak, or step into the cold silence of power and learn to rule. Comment this now. I command myself. Therefore, I command the world. Becoming untouchable. Untouchable does not mean immune from struggle. It does not mean you will never face resistance, betrayal, or pain. Untouchable means something far greater. It means nothing external has the power to break you. It means your mind remains unshaken when storms rage. Your focus remains unbroken when distractions tempt, and your silence remains impenetrable when the world demands reaction. The herd collapses under pressure because they are built on sand. You will not. You will be built on stone. To become untouchable, you must first eliminate dependency. Any chain that ties your strength to another man's approval, a woman's validation, or society's acceptance is a weakness waiting to be exploited. Dependency makes you predictable, controllable, and weak. Break those chains. Train yourself to need nothing but your mission. When you no longer need praise, no insult can wound you. When you no longer crave comfort, no hardship can deter you. When you no longer rely on others to define you, no one has power over you. That is freedom. And freedom is the essence of being untouchable. But freedom alone is not enough. Untouchable men project inevitability. They radiate the presence of someone who cannot be stopped, only endured. This aura is not created through arrogance. It is created through discipline and consistency. Every day you sharpen your silence. Every day you reinforce your focus. Every day you master your control. You are building an image that others cannot pierce. People sense when a man is unmoved by fear, untouched by temptation, and immune to manipulation. It unsettles them. It forces them to respect you even if they resent you. This is why silence is your shield and focus is your weapon. They build the aura of inevitability. The untouchable man is also ruthless in self-awareness. He does not lie to himself. He does not indulge in fantasies of greatness while his actions betray weakness. He confronts his flaws, dismantles them, and rebuilds himself stronger. Most men are destroyed not by external enemies, but by the lies they feed themselves. False confidence, imagined strength, hollow bravado. You cannot afford such illusions. Cold truth is your ally. Brutal honesty with yourself is your foundation. Only when you master yourself in truth can you dominate others in reality. Finally, being untouchable requires legacy thinking. While the herd lives for comfort today, you live for impact. Tomorrow, your actions are not about fleeting pleasure. They are about permanence. Every move is a brick in the monument of your influence. The untouchable man is not forgotten because he does not live like the herd. He imprints himself on every room, every interaction, every decision. His presence outlasts his absence. That is, immortality of influence. And it belongs only to the man who controls himself. Absolutely. Think less, talk less, focus more, break dependency, radiate inevitability, confront yourself ruthlessly, build legacy daily. This is the formula. This is the path. Follow it and the world cannot break you. You will not bend. You will not fall. You will not be touched. Comment this now. I am inevitable. The final command. This is where everything converges. You have heard the call. Think less, talk less, focus more. You have walked through silence, through discipline, through control, through domination. Now we arrive at the last gate. The point where all of this philosophy is no longer theory, no longer words, but command. Because power means nothing if it does not move you to act. Untouchable is not something you wish to be. Untouchable is something you become through relentless execution. Understand this. The greatest enemy of men is not lack of knowledge. It is hesitation. Weak men already know what they must do. They know they should cut distractions, silence weakness, kill dependency, and sharpen their focus. But they wait, they stall, they dream, they fantasize about power instead of claiming it. The untouchable man does not wait. He executes. He builds his fortress day after day, brick after brick, action after action. He does not need motivation because he is fueled by inevitability. He does not crave permission because he already commands himself. That is the final command. Stop waiting and start living this philosophy as if your life depends on it, because it does. Life is short, brutal, unforgiving. The herd wastes it chasing pleasures that vanish in hours, chasing approval that dies in moments. You cannot afford to live like them. Every second you waste is strength leaking from your body, control slipping from your mind, focus dissolving into nothing. To be untouchable is to treat every moment like a weapon, to sharpen it, to wield it, to use it against weakness and mediocrity. Every day you think less, you silence noise. Every day you talk less, you deny enemies your map. Every day you focus more, you carve your destiny with precision. These are not habits, they are rituals of power. And if you honor them, they will transform you into something the herd cannot even comprehend. But know this, the untouchable man is feared not because he is cruel, but because he is inevitable. His silence unnerves them, his control breaks them, his focus crushes them, and his presence outlasts his absence. He leaves a mark they cannot erase, because he does not live by accident. He lives by design. This is the final stage of power, legacy. The day you die, people will speak your name with weight. They will remember not your pleasures, not your distractions, not your wasted hours, but the unshakable force you became. That is what it means to be untouchable. So now, I turn this on you. What will you choose? Will you remain one of the herd, noisy, weak, scattered? Or will you step into silence, discipline, focus, and control? Will you let your life dissolve into nothing? Or will you forge yourself into the man the world cannot break? The answer lies not in what you say, but in what you do next. Comment this now. I am untouchable. Let the world know the moment you decided to rise above. And if this message struck you, if it burned something inside you, if it sharpened your edge, then make sure you don't let it end here. Like this video, subscribe to Saraitham. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next strike. This is not entertainment. This is transformation. And if you are ready to rise above the herd, this is only the beginning.